Yeah, I pushed the YouTube link. I can give you the pop chat.
I'm out of breath, bro. Tired. It's not even tired. I'm just like a little fried.
Dude, this Fable thing, it's
I'm
like
drunk.
Not just drunk. Like it's negatively affecting my marriage. It's negatively affecting my health. It's negatively affecting my sleep.
I want to ask. I think for the podcast, I want to ask what the difference is between Fable and Opus. I mean, we just had our minds blown a month ago.
I know. We gotta save that for the podcast.
Yeah, because that's
it is.
Yeah, I got Yeah, I mean, it's been a couple weeks since I've been on the thing. I was on two almost back-to-back trips. A week in between.
I'm going on a trip. I need it, bro. I can't wait for vacation.
We got this trip planned, and I'm excited to go. So I'll be gone.
But can I bring Fable honey?
I'll be gone, basically from next Friday till the 1st or whatever.
Where are you guys going?
Flying to Toronto, spending a couple days with our son, taking the train from Toronto to Ottawa to see our nation's capital, which I've never been at.
Oh, interesting.
And then we're going to take... I've never been to Ottawa, no. And then I'm going to take the train from Ottawa to Montreal. Lorinda's never been there, so I'm going to show her around there. And then we're taking the overnight train from Montreal to Halifax, which I've also never been to.
Wow, a lot of trains. You're European all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know my friend Brad Tunar?
Yes.
He's in Halifax.
He's in Halifax. Oh, sweet.
Halifax is out there, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, cool. You know, what's his name? John Ewalt from Portland that I'm very close with.
Is he still in Mexico?
He's been in Mexico, but he's currently visiting Montreal with his daughter.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
Both sides of the family have some Canadian roots, and now you can get a passport. And then you can get like Commonwealth advantages, and you can send your kid to college up there. Like, so they're checking things out.
Oh, I mean, Montreal's incredible.
But he's raving. He's like, damn, it is so beautiful.
Yeah, we're actually taking one less day in Toronto so we can do one extra day in Montreal.
My trip this week was not super far from Toronto. We were in the Finger Lakes in New York.
Oh, sweet.
A couple days. Yeah.
Halifax.
All right, well, let's.
I know. He's a 1 hour time zone the other way.
Yeah.
Do you go when you go from Ottawa? First of all, I had no idea where Ottawa was. I thought it was out west. That's Winnipeg. My bad. Oh my God, Canada's so big. Holy shit. When you go from Montreal to Halifax, do you cut through Maine, or do you mind your little business like a nice Canadian state?
Yeah,
your own territory?
It's gonna take. We'll take Via Rail through Quebec, so that's an overnight train. That it's called the Ocean. The Ocean, I think it's called. Out east, it's similar to the U.S. Out east, there's way more trains. So out west, there's like nothing. You can take the train from Vancouver to Edmonton, which is a great train ride through the Rockies, but there's not as many trains. It's really expensive. But like Toronto to Ottawa, I think is like $60 or $70.
I know
Ottawa
Brad,
to Montreal.
It's called the Ocean, and it looks like the path stays in Canada, so it goes all the way up and then across.
That's right. Yeah. We got to stay in Canada, man. This is the Canadian trip. I'm going. The only province I still have never been to is Manitoba, and maybe one day I'll get there. But this is like trying to do as much of Canada as we can.
That is cool. Nice. Very cool.
Should we get into the show? We got lots to talk about. We're all addicted and snorting cocaine.
Woo! I got my second coffee here. I'm gonna be super jittery. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Welcome to the panel where three founders talk about building a better business and a better life. I'm Justin Jackson, co-founder of Transistor.fm.
And I'm Brian Casel, founder of Builder Methods.
And I'm Jordan Goff, founder at HeyRosie.com. Gents, it's been a few weeks. We'll blame it on the summer.
Yeah.
It's good to be back. A lot to talk about.
Yeah, good to be back. I was on 2 back-to-back trips, and I know I missed the last episode, which I listened to while I was in an airport. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
I really felt like a typical listener of our shows, where I just want to talk back to the radio, you know. And I was texting you guys about that. But yeah, it was a good time. 2 weeks ago, I went out to the UK to speak at Brighton Ruby. Which was a really, really great time. Fantastic event. Andy
How did it
Kroll.
feel to speak? Because you haven't done a talk in a while, I think. Like, how did that feel?
So it's funny. I don't really think that I'm a very good speaker on stage, like at live conferences. Historically, like I've done it a few times, but not super often. And the few times I have done it, especially with the larger audiences, I tend to get really nervous. I'm not a Justin Jackson up there. I don't have the stage presence, you know.
Dude, I get nervous too, but yeah.
So this time, I was the first speaker at 9 a.m. and which feels like 3 a.m. to me. In my hours, and my whole flight getting in was 24 hours delayed, so I actually got in like a day before the conference, which should have been 2 days before the conference, which was a whole ordeal. But so I think the fact that my body was basically asleep when I got on stage, like worked to my advantage, because I was like, I had a little butterflies walking up, but after 30 seconds I was chill, and I feel like it went like really well for like my 45-minute talk, you know.
Okay, now you know what you need to do to prepare for next time.
Yeah, exactly. And I also did like a private workshop there, which unfortunately, like I was supposed to land the day before. My flights got all messed up and delayed, and I landed 2 hours after the workshop started. So, and I'm supposed to be hosting this thing. So, Andy kind of took over the load, but I came off of like a 20-hour travel fiasco and just like walked right into this workshop. It was crazy.
Wow.
And then, but it was a great time. Brighton, UK is unbelievable. I want to go back. It's such a cool town. It's a coastal town in the UK. It's some incredible restaurants. It happened to be a heat wave, which was kind of bad, but great, really cool place. And then I was home for a week, and then this past week, got back like 2 days ago. We did a family road trip up to the Finger Lakes region in New York State.
Sweet.
Which is like not super far from the Canadian border, from Niagara. Did a bunch of wine tasting. There's a lot of wine tasting on the lakes there, and got a really nice Airbnb on the lake. You know, did some kayaking and hiking and stuff.
Sweet.
Good time. Oh, and I also came up with an idea and built and shipped a new product from the car.
Oh yeah.
In the few hours kind of sitting around in this Airbnb, and also I have 30 new paying customers for that thing as of today.
Wow, so. There it is.
Okay, hold on.
It's kind of like saying you went to Ibiza and you're like, yeah, I just read books. Oh yeah, and then I did do a ton of cocaine. And
yeah, there was that.
No, what's the time gap? Like from the time you had the idea to today, like how long ago was that?
So we were driving out to the Finger Lakes we had to shift the thing because I had a unexpected doctor appointment that I had to come back for. I'm going to have a small surgery in the next couple of weeks, but I'll be fine. But anyway, so we were driving out on, what day was it? Friday afternoon was when we drove out, and I did most of the driving, but then like about 3 hours in, I was thinking about this idea.
I have an idea. You got to drive.
And I was like, hey, I'm getting kind of tired. Amy, you want to take the wheel for about an hour? And so she did. And then like literally from shotgun in the car, I'm on Claude Code, hashing out this idea for a Mac app. I've never built a Mac app before. This was my first. Okay. And it's a Markdown writing app. Here's the thing. Here's the pain point that I have been feeling for several weeks now. Obviously a lot of us use Claude Code for obviously coding and stuff, but more and more people are using Claude Code for things other than coding software, right? So I do a lot of work with content. I'm constantly developing scripts and articles and newsletters and strategy documents and notes. Like even for this episode, I jotted down some notes. I do all that in Markdown files. And up until and I didn't use Claude Code for today's episode, but I do use Claude Code for lots of things like drafting stuff. And so for the last couple of months, I've been just resorting to the same app where I do my other Claude Code work. It's a coding app. I happen to be using one called Superconductor, and there's a bunch of them out there. Like Aaron's Solo app seems really good. There's Conductor, there's VS Code, there's Cursor, and the trend in all of these apps, and they're moving toward this term like agentic development apps, right? The trend is that they are pushing you farther and further away from your actual files. So you open up a project, and the premise now is like, you don't have to touch your files anymore. You only interact with your coding agent, your Claude Code or your Codex or whatever it might be, and your agent is the one that writes the code for you and does all the things. And that is great in software development, and that is true. Like I don't hand code any files for software anymore. I have Claude Code do it. Yeah. Except when I want to write something, like an article or a blog post or an email. Like, yes, I want Claude Code to help me draft that, but I still want to hop in there and hand edit quite a bit.
Okay, this is my question.
But the thing is that these coding apps are not made for hand editing anymore. It's not a beautiful writing experience like you would get in like an Obsidian or a Bear or like a Notion. Those are beautiful writing apps, right? But those don't have Claude Code attached to them. So basically the idea with my new app called Flywrite is it's a beautiful markdown editing writing app. All the formatting, all the customizations that you want, but it has an attached terminal so that you can run Claude Code or Codex or any other agent that you want and collaborate in it. And it's basically like an app that functions similar to a VS Code or a Cursor, except it's made for the times when you want to actually write the file and you're not necessarily building a software app.
Yeah, I actually think the marketing site, when I first saw it, I didn't really get it, but and maybe like a lot of these things, you need to have a use case. And I think the use case that came to mind for me, and I think this would work with this, is that I've been building a ton of marketing sites using basically just Astro as the framework. Everything's in GitHub. GitHub deploys to Cloudflare pages, and I just interact with GitHub via the Claude Code app connected directly to GitHub, right? And even that workflow is just, I think when people listen and they think like, oh, I guess you could do all that. Once you actually start using this, because I knew you could do this stuff in theory, like use the actual Claude Code app, connect it to an actual repo instead of just your local files on your machine. Until you start using it, it's like you don't realize what an unlock that is. But for writing, I could use Flywrite app to like write the blog posts and then just say, hey, here's a blog post, and it would just automatically understand it, commit it to GitHub,
it has the built-in,
deploy it.
It does have it really functions just like a coding app, like a VS Code. So you can open up your project, or you can clone a GitHub repo, and you could push, like you could use it just like you would a coding app, but it's really designed for the cases where you're not necessarily deploying to a server or building a code base. The thing that you are working on are the files themselves, the writing, the markdown, primarily markdown files, right? So a lot of people are using it for like writing up documentation of stuff or content development. A lot of marketing people create marketing or copywriting for something where you want Claude Code to draft half of it, and then you want to go in and tweak it yourself, and then have Claude Code, tighten stuff up, and then you go in and tweak it some more, and then it's ready. And like, that's the thing. But under the hood, it has a very simplified like Git integration. It has a terminal so that you can, so it's like, it's a very lightweight text like editor, but it's like the VS Code except it's for writing instead of like creating software.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try this out. Again, this this using Astro and all this stuff has just been such an unlock for me. I've been building tons of stuff with it, and one of the things I did was I said, you know what, I'm just gonna put the Marketing for Developers book online, and to do that, I said, well, I need a way of writing every once in a while, and so I'm using this, I can't remember what this is called, but some sort of editor that, you know, I can write in Markdown and I can save it and it'll actually commit it to GitHub and put it live. But I would prefer actually to have just an app on my Mac where I could just not have anything even on the web and just interact with it that way.
Yeah, use FlyWrite now.
All right.
All right, so let me tell you about Fable.
So it's a few days.
Yeah, let me tell you about okay, so I'm in the car, I have this idea. I sit in shotgun, I open up just Claude web app, and I discuss the idea. I scope it out. That's probably 45 minutes of work to get a really tight artifact that describes everything about what I just described here, like the idea for this Markdown writing app with an attached terminal for running agents. That's the concept. I want it to be a Mac app. I've never built a Mac app before. So 45 minutes of back and forth, I hash that out. Then I take that into Claude Code and I fire up Claude Fable and I say, have at it. Just build this whole thing in one shot. Knowing that like, I'm just gonna do this, I'm gonna let it go, and I'm gonna sit here and I'm probably gonna start driving again and just let that go. And it's just running on my like cell phone data. And then within like the next, I forgot how long, like it might have taken about an hour, and it built version 1 of this thing by the time we like arrived at our hotel. So, you know, so we're on vacation, we're with the kids and everything. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like I've got this thing waiting for me on my laptop for the next time I have some downtime. Cool.
I'll pretend to be focused on my family.
I'll pretend to not think about it. And of course I'm checking like the Claude mobile app and all this stuff. You know, but so I have a V1 of this thing that is like 70, 80%. Like the core of it is all built. It's just that there's like little like UI and UX things that are like not quite right. So over the weekend, while I'm on vacation, you know, late at night the kids are sleeping, or you know, we go out and we're hanging out on the lake, we're doing wine tasting, and then like in the afternoon we're just or other way around, or maybe in the morning we're chilling for like 2-3 hours, got some downtime, crack open the laptop. I would say a total number of hours over the next 3-4 days is probably 4 to 5 hours of like additional input from me, meaning like in like 30 to 60 minute sprints I'm going in and I'm like, all right, let's clean up this UI, let's refine that, let's polish that up, hey, let's fire up this 1-page marketing site for this thing, let's just polish it up and get this thing ready to go. Let's design and generate like a pretty cool app icon for this. Like I don't know, 4 or 5 hours total of round trips of getting this thing. And then let's see, we came home, like it's basically done and ready by Tuesday, but Tuesday was the day we were driving home. Wednesday I get home, I have this doctorate appointment, and then I spent the day Wednesday, final polish, and I started sending out invites to the first. But I think I announced the landing page from vacation probably on like Sunday or Monday. So I had about 4 days of like early access list signups in that time. Oh, and I sent it to like my email list and everything. So I got maybe 300, 350 signups on the early access list, and then on Thursday, yesterday, I started manually sending the first batch of invites. I made available, the first 30 are going to get this lifetime deal. I think I sent maybe like 35 or 40 of those invites, and 30 of them like bought it, you know, within the first couple of hours. And so those have sold out, and that takes us to now. And so now it's like open and available for anybody to sign up for and purchase. My initial thought at the pricing for this thing is let's do just $99 a year for a license. During the month of July, there's a launch coupon to get $30 off of that. But that is where we're at. And so literally like less than 7 days later, I have a fully functional Mac app that I think is a joy to use. I've got a whole marketing site. I've got a Rails app that manages your license and the purchase flow. And it's launched with 4 figures of revenue. And yeah, I mean, I'm drunk on Claude Fable at this point. I don't know what to tell you.
Accurate.
I feel personally it is more like doing like drugs than getting drunk, but
it's an upper. It's not a depressive.
It's not a downer.
Yeah.
It's the sativa of
yeah.
AI models.
It is not an indica. That's right. Yeah. Jordan, what have you been building?
I want to ask. So I was overwhelmed with FOMO because everyone's building and I didn't really have anything to build. And so last night I just said, okay, well, my wife is in New York right now with our oldest daughter. They're on like a graduation party with a few other moms and daughters. Cool. I got the little ones to myself. They are having a sleepover. I'm like, I got 3 hours to myself here. Do whatever I want. So I thought back to an app that my brother had the need for while he was running his gym franchise locations. And so in the past I have played around with like Base 44 and like the Lovable type apps because it feels like appropriate for me because I don't know what anything is. I don't know what Terminal is. I don't have a GitHub account, all that. But this time I said, okay, let me try with Fable. And it was the first time it helped me break through. Like I set up GitHub, Railway, and then I watched it control my computer and just do stuff and then say, hey, there's a pop-up. Can you just say yes to the pop-up and let me know when you've done it? It felt another level up in intelligence and interaction, and like it didn't hit roadblocks. It just kind of steamrolled through everything and was like, oh, this thing happened. Oh, I got a bug. Give me a sec. It like had this conversation with me and that I got to watch. I felt stupid. It was asking me questions and I like typed out this like clunky sentence and I almost felt self-conscious that this thing was smarter than I was and I was asking it a dumb question.
But isn't that freeing?
I had that same feeling, but probably more so like a year ago when I was just getting used to interacting with these things. But then that started to develop this muscle of like, oh, I could just ask it any dumbass question I ever want. And like
right, that self-consciousness filter that you have with a colleague doesn't exist. I'm like, it'll understand the spelling mistake of this or whatever.
So that's one of the differences between what I'm noticing with like Fable and Opus. There's many, I would say. It's just a clear, huge step up. But one of them is like, you can be a little bit lazier, I think, in your prompting. Like obviously, I'm still
fuzzier, less precise.
Yeah, like I'm still a firm believer in like, we do at a professional level, we do need to over plan. We do need to spend a lot of time in like specs and PRDs and like when we're building something that's like high stakes. And even though it can one shot a lot of stuff, my thing that I talk about a lot is like, we still want to break it up into milestones because we have business decisions to make along the way, right? But what I mean by you can be lazier is like there's a lot of like prompts or design requests that I can say to it like, all right, like we need to like migrate all these product docs over and but we need to sort of change them around so that we're sort of positioning it this way and we need to do this and that. Like you sort of get what I mean, right? Like go. Like, like you can just sort of like assume that like it's going to sort of figure out the gist or the direction of what you're going for. Yeah. Like that's
you're
one
assuming
thing that
you're assuming it's going to make good decisions is the freeing part.
Again, there's a give and take here. Like when you're working on something important and high stakes, you don't want to leave all these decisions to chance. You do want to build them into a proper plan, for sure. But when you're working quick and you're on a road trip and you're trying to ship an MVP for a thing, you can be like, look, here's the idea. Like, just have at it. And that's the kind of thing where previous models probably either would have stumbled or completely dreamed up the totally wrong thing. But Fable is just like, got you, I'm on it. And it just does it. And then like the other thing is that like it does go an extra mile of like level of polish, and also just like all the little this doesn't quite work right, or it's a little bit buggy here and there. Like it will find and fix and smooth all that stuff out before it says that it's done.
Yeah. Also, this automatic like accept like it. What do you call that mode? Where it just it doesn't
like
ask you.
mode.
Auto mode is kind of built in. It's like the batteries are included, and you can just go. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's all the models that been using that for a while, but
yeah,
you do probably want to do that with Fable. Like you want to let it run in auto mode because it will, and like there were a few things where like there was a genuine blocker. Like I didn't give it the right credentials to access some API, and like it just stopped and told me like I need that.
For Jordan, I'm curious about two things. One, I've never actually heard of Railway, so was that suggested to you by Claude Code? And two, what did you build? Like you built this app, what was it?
So I think I had come across Railway at some point or another on Twitter, maybe the founder or something, or some funding announcement.
Provider
it's
mostly
a
Rails apps, I think.
Yeah, but it suggested it to me. And it was one of the first times that I felt this, a form of distribution people are talking about, where allowing your service to be accessed easily and efficiently by agents puts you in a better position to grow, because I wasn't really going to get in the way of the model's decision. It suggested Railway, and I was like, great. Like, yes, give me the URL and I'll sign up for an account.
So it did suggest it to you in Claude Code. Interesting.
It yeah, it just assumed. And in truth, what the app does is it sends out phone calls and text messages to people before their shift starts. That's it. You need to open the gym at 6 a.m. It's really, really painful for everyone involved if the person's 15 minutes late, because you got people who join the gym and they're like, I want to work out before work starts, and they show up at 6:01, and if the opener doesn't show up for 20 minutes, like that's not cool. So it's a very painful problem, and this tiny little thing, it doesn't really make sense to spend money on it. Like my brother, he hired people in the Philippines to call people. It was like a really weird problem.
Wow.
And he was like, build me an app that just sends out a text message with a little bit of like a math puzzle, just so the person has to think and kind of acknowledge, yes, 12 plus 12 is 24, hit send. And so they're like acknowledging that they're awake. Like, that's it.
Wow.
Right? So it's cool, but it involves telephony. So it's got to send SMS, and I'm into the AI voice thing, obviously. So I'm like, make phone calls also and confirm that the person's up and they're going to be on time. And if not, then go to the next person, all this stuff. So I had messed around previously on Base 44 with it and used Twilio, and it was the blocker. The thing that killed my momentum is the Twilio setup and account creation, approval. I was like, geez, a mess.
Yeah, it's the worst.
And so I just told it, last time I did this on Base 44, Twilio was a mess. Find me something else. And it was like, no problem. I recommend Retail and I recommend Telnex, and this is what you need to do. It'll take 2 days. So it like helped me overcome an actual issue that was out in the real world. It was like separate. You can't fix it with code. You got to like choose an account and a provider, all those other things.
I do think that like the big difference between using like a Base 44 or like a Lovable or any of these and just going into like Claude Code or Codex is you're going to the source. You go to Claude Code, you have access to Fable or Opus, like the best models available. Whereas the Base 44 is like they're just like any other AI wrapper app, like Base 44 is paying for those tokens, so they're going to charge it. But not only will they charge you for that, but like they're going to cut corners on
that has not been my. It's limited my experience in it, but going through this direction through Claude being very different from the Lovable and Base 44 experiments that I've done. I have always felt intimidated to go straight to the source through Claude and GitHub, because I felt like, well, maybe I can get something off the ground, but I don't know what to do from there. And so Base 44 felt like safe. It was like, don't worry about the tech. It's kind of like, Rosie is simple for people who aren't technical. Right. Now, the good thing to say about Base 44 and those like it is because it's built for building SaaS apps, really that's what it's built for, it took a lot. It did a really good job on the UI and the UX and like the marketing site and like understanding what needs to happen, like a pricing page, all that stuff. But Fable, for some reason, helped me overcome that fear, because now I feel like, okay, so it's in GitHub and it's direct and like, who cares? I can still work with it in a similar way. And I think you were saying something like this before. Something about Fable makes me feel confident that I don't really care what it comes up with in front of me, because I can just change it. I can just change my mind. I could just go back. I can just say, oh, you know what? I didn't like that direction. Let's kind of go back in this direction. And in truth, what I actually did with it was I said, everything's awesome. It works, and this is great, but the UI and the UX of the Base 44 amp is much better. And it was like, cool, give it to me. Give me the UI, and let's go.
I'll recreate it. Yeah.
Yes. So it's like it's gotten good enough that it kind of broke through a lot of friction and barriers, and gave me as a user this confidence. I'm like, oh, I don't need as much guardrail holding me up that it's going to be okay. It just does all that for me. So I want to ask you guys, like, I mean, Justin, you've gotten drunk too. I mean, I was about to expand that metaphor or analogy, and I'm going to stop now. What differences do you feel in the work that you're doing? You kind of got some energy over the last week or two to build something. Is there a difference between a month ago and now with Fable? What is that difference? Is all this hype justified? Like, what's going on out there with the models?
I think it's like, one is this deadline that it was going to be available, and then it was not going to be available. So it was like, I was like, I got to use this now.
Why are they so good at playing us? Like,
I know, and then they just keep putting it out.
I know, like, and I finished my thing like just before the deadline on July 7th, and then like 2 hours later, the tweet is like, we extended it to July 12th. It's like, oh.
Yeah,
and then like in my Slacks, people are like, oh my God, my number's reset. And I'm like, well, it's on Twitter. And like, well, I'm not on Twitter. I just see it from this side. It's like Kim Kardashian, but for like nerds.
Yeah.
Where she's like, you got to do this new thing. And everyone's like, oh my God, this thing's the greatest thing ever.
And again, like when interacting with your spouse or your family, it has that feel of like, hold on, kids. Like, I got to answer this thing on Twitter, or I got to check out this thing everyone's talking about, or okay, now I'm just, I got to get this done before my Fable expires, So it was that. It was also honestly playing around with Claude Design more was such a huge unlock. I'd used it for a few things, but I didn't realize how interactive those prototypes could be. And so I was just like, what is going on here? I got to check this out. And so I started, I had this idea back in 2018 for Spots.fm, a way to sponsor independent creators, YouTube, newsletter, podcast, whatever. John and I were thinking about building it. We bought the domain. We had to shelve it because we were just two people trying to get to profitability.
Is this the site from years ago?
This is from 2018, yeah.
Oh, come on. 8 years.
And I, even before that, in 2012, I'd been doing the same thing where you could book a spot on Product People just with like online and pay for it. But this was the unlock, was Claude Design. Holy crap. The fact that it could be interactive and I could build all of this stuff in Claude Design and just really feel all of the pain and like, oh, I got to fix this. No, that's not right. I don't want it this way. Oh, I think I want this. Let's see how that feels. And just to be able to build in all of these like pieces. How do I want this to look? How do I want it to look? How do I want it to feel? And then to bring that into the Ruby on Rails app and have Fable basically take what was in Claude Design and build it for me, and to be able to continue to iterate with it. Like I'll go back to Claude Design a lot and say, actually, the thing that Fable built isn't exactly what I want. I'm going to mock it up here, drop the mock-up screenshot into the chat, and then have Fable build it into the Ruby on Rails app the way I want.
And just to be clear, you're also using Fable in Claude Design, right? Like
that. Okay, so I don't even know what I'm doing in there.
I'm sorry. Claude Design is just another surface of Claude. You've got Claude Code, Claude Cowork, Claude Design, and all of those. And so like Fable is going to be a little bit better at designing these UIs in Claude Design than Opus was.
Oh, actually, I'm only using the Opus 4.8 model in Claude Design. So
I was going to ask if there's the interaction there between like. Well, I had a similar experience with Claude Design. I designed a new account creation screen as this latest experiment that we launched a few days ago, and I handed it over to my designer.
Yep.
And then my designer came up with a bunch of ideas based off of it, and I like the Claude Design better. It was like the first time where I was like, actually, I like the original. And he was like, whatever. I'm not going to be offended.
It's really interesting. Yeah, so like you can use Claude Fable, and so Claude Fable I think is it really excels at design tasks, and like so I also had it create it created my whole slide deck for that Brighton Ruby thing. Okay. I also have like I do a lot of motion graphics now in my videos, which are all generated with Claude Fable and some hyperframe stuff. It's really good at that. Like just the level of detail and the flow of like motion graphics and design and stuff like Fable is excellent. What was I going to say? I wanted to get to this question. You posted it in the chat, Justin, but I know that we want to talk about it here on this, which is like, what does this mean? What does Fable mean in terms of software products, building tools, the future, the age-old question now, like the future of SaaS, the future of, but I want to illustrate that. My answer to that is this. We can argue all day about like the future of SaaS. That's not really where I want to focus. We can if you want. But my thing is that the bar for creating tools, I'm not talking about products, I'm talking about tools, is becoming much, much lower. And it's going to continue to drop down to the point where building a tool for your work or building a tool for your business is just going to be another human skill that we have in a long stack of AI power user skills. Like I could use Claude Design. I can do all this Excel wizardry. I can write up Word docs, and I can spin up tools as needed. Like that's just going to be a thing that we do. And to illustrate this, I realize I have some experience that helps me move fast with this kind of stuff, but the speed is real here. During this past week, I'm talking about yesterday, while I'm shipping this entirely new product with Flywrite, and while I'm doing some stuff with Builder Methods, and we're even onboarding a new employee at ClarityFlow, while I'm doing that, I also had Claude Fable build me an entirely new funnel analytics tracking system. Okay. It's essentially its own app, but it's built into the back end of my Builder Methods app. And one of the things that I've been focused on in the Builder Methods department is like, I need to really dial in my funnels, right? Like how many people are coming in for this and that lead magnet, this free workshop, how many convert to Builder Methods Pro, and where are they coming from, and what's the drop off, and all this different stuff. And I need to slice and dice that data in many different ways. Now, historically, you would reach for a mix panel or an amplitude or a Google Analytics or one of these fancy funnel analytics tools. And then you would probably spend hours, if not weeks, on custom development to have that wired into all of your databases and your systems and your purchase data and your email marketing and all this crap. Because without that custom dev integration, the mix panels and amplitudes are just completely useless, frankly. And I learned that the hard way so many times in previous SaaS products.
Yep.
You can't just plug those in. You have to wire them into your database.
And famously, Natalie from WildBit had this big post where she said, we just tore out all that stuff and built it internally because
exactly.
it was
at a
better.
certain point, it's like we're spending so much. Why are we doing like pretzel? Why are we putting ourselves into pretzels to when we could just? We've already spent enough hours. We could have just built this. So that's like exactly what I did yesterday during lunch. Like,
so you're like crossing over between product and tool. You're making a tool that replaces a product, but you're making a product and you're hoping a tool doesn't replace it. And like these are connected.
What I'm saying is like I spent 45 minutes writing up or creating a prompt and describing what I need to see in graphs and charts and the ability to spin up like custom funnel tracking going forward. Like I did that in my Builder Methods repo with Claude Fable. And then I went out to lunch and I came back and I have a high-end, dialed-in, totally customizable funnel tracking system for me to, and it's like, it gives me like real insights into conversion rates and whatnot based on real data that I've been building up in my database. 45 minutes, you know, like while I'm doing other major projects. Like, so what does that mean?
Yeah,
it's like that's a tool that I would have paid hundreds for with a mixed panel a month. I would have paid thousands to a developer to integrate it, but I have these like AI native skills now and access to a Cloud Fable, and I can do 45 minutes, and now that's a tool that I will be using every day in my business. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but like that to me is like software is getting replaced.
I see multiple trends that I think are just gonna fuck shit up. One is there's just so many applications now where Claude is just eating those applications. Like if Claude becomes my interface layer for my website, I no longer need to pay for a CMS, right? I actually no longer, when it comes to something like Statamic, I no longer need to pay for multiple tools in that chain. I was using Forge to deploy and provision the servers. I was using DigitalOcean. I was using Statamic and paying for that. And unfortunately, this new thing I'm really excited about is it eliminates basically everything in that stack except for Claude, Cloudflare Pages, and Astro, which is this free open source framework. So that's going to fuck shit up. The other thing is every one of my Slacks, and even in this chat and everywhere, everybody's building software. So I realize this is our bubble, but with way more software. This is supply and demand, classic supply and demand. Software has benefited from the fact that it's hard to build software. It's always been hard. You've always needed a team of engineers to do it. And now that's not the case anymore. So fuck, the supply is going to go through the roof. We're going to have the same thing that happened in the App Store, in the iOS App Store, is at first you could sell a $5 fart app, but now you can't. Now you can't make money.
I would still pay $5.
Now, when everybody is making, like the value of the fart app goes down when everybody's making one, right? And our economy rewards things that are difficult. Generally, that's the way capitalism works, is you get to charge more, you get rewarded more economically when things are hard, when things are difficult. And if that goes down, fuck, we're screwed.
Here's what I am.
I don't think I'm screwed, but I think
well, look, the rest of you, you're on your own.
I do think we are inside of our own bubble of a very, very small percentage of people that interact with this stuff at the level that we do. I don't know what that means other than I don't think I would be selling software as a service to engineers and developers and people who are really engaged in the tech. That feels that,
Right.
But I don't know where it goes beyond our bubbles. This makes me think of that podcast episode that I brought into our DMs. From Patrick O'Shaughnessy and Invest Like the Best. He had this guy on. I'm blanking on his name. If you could help me find that name, we should give him some credit there. Jeremy something? I'm not sure.
Jeremy Giffen. I listened to it, but I never knew either of these guys. So
me neither. I think Jeremy Giffen used to work at Tiny with Andrew Wilkinson, and then moved over into whatever fund he works at, and. This was one of the more polarizing episodes I've listened to in a while. I did not know what to do with this episode. I agreed with it and disagreed at the same time. I hated it and loved it at the same time. I thought the guy was brilliant and stupid at the same. I was so confused.
there were a lot of ideas spewed out really quickly. Like, what was
so
the
fast.
big headline that you latched onto? Would you say?
Okay, the overall TLDR that I got out of it is that things are, according to Jeremy, like his point of view, is that capital follows narrative.
Narrative, right? Yeah.
And story and the power of influence on the timeline that goes beyond money into this other realm. And I just don't know if that is really spot on, and like these narratives are driving us in a certain direction. SaaS is dying type of thing. That's a narrative that's going in a particular direction, and where's the value going, and you can't sell to developers anymore, and you need to be the AI labs because they're going to compete with everyone to eat. This narrative drives capital in a certain direction where investment and attention goes. Or we're just in a little bubble staring at each other, playing these weird status games about who's the smartest, and the real 95% of the rest of the economy is just doing its thing and doesn't care about our opinion.
I do think that part of it did ring true for me. That's the big headline takeaway that I took from it as well. It was capital or interest or momentum follows narrative, right? And he was talking he's a VC, right? Or he runs a fund, so he's talking it from that perspective, right? He was talking about how the only real data or feedback that we get from the current market are founders telling stories, like giving us their quarterly updates and giving us their pitch decks, and those are stories being told. And the question then for capital is which story do we believe, and what are we going to invest in, right? And you Jordan, you would know much more about that side of the world than I would. It's that seemed to ring true. You need to be able to pitch and convince investors to invest in your thing based on your narrative, right? But the way that I was listening to it, where I start to relate to it on a more personal level, is I do the very same thing in my business, even though I don't have investors. I'm constantly telling myself the story, and trying
predicting the future through the story.
I do a lot of business journaling because as a solo founder, I've really leaned heavily on how to self-reflection and trying to get good at that. And as hard as it is to not have partners and to not have investors, I have to really rely on finding ways to make decisions myself. And the way that I've done that historically is a lot of journaling, a lot of voice noting, and now I do that with Claude Code as a thought, or just Claude as a thought partner. But all of that is, okay, here's the story so far, and here's the story that I believe, here's how I see the future. Push back on me, tell me what I'm missing, what's the story here, right? Another example of that is a few weeks ago, I've been trying to diagnose some funnel issues with builder methods. We had a crazy March, and then it sort of had a correction in April, and then I've had all sorts of numbers going wild, both up and down over this year. And I was I got to make sense of this. So I opened up Claude Code. I think this was before Fable came out. I think it was Opus. And I gave it all of my Stripe data, all of my marketing data, all of my traffic data, all the YouTube data, all of it. dumped it into Cloud Code. Here's the past year. I was like, tell me the story of my business.
Okay. Cool.
What happened? Like, what are you seeing? What are the trends? Where is this going? What are the gaps that I'm missing? And it was very insightful, and it helped me strategically. So anyway, like story, narrative, that's kind of everything to me. I don't know.
Justin, I want to put something to you.
Dude,
okay.
Can I just okay, go ahead.
What? Go for it.
Because I listened to it and I was like, right away, I'm just detecting what I called broccoli-headed Gen Z overconfidence. And then looking at this dude on Twitter, I'm like, dude, here he is, broccoli-headed Gen Z millennial overconfidence. He said some stuff that I just think is just so silly. Like he said, billionaires have realized that money's actually not that powerful, and that they're not they're not the most powerful people in the world. It's actually posters that are the most powerful people in the world.
Right.
And I'm just like, that's the stupidest thing. He's like, yeah, billionaires have realized they actually don't have much power. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yes. Billionaires are moving markets. Billionaires are helping determine elections.
Causes, governments.
Like,
he also really emphasized
stupidest
Twitter.
thing.
He also really emphasized like the X timeline as being like the holy, like the source of truth in the world. Like,
and the fact
that was where I was like, all right, you lost me.
The fact that like Mark Andreessen and all these people are bootlicking this guy, I'm like,
that's why
people must be. How dumb are people on this timeline? It feels ridiculous to me.
Okay, so let me do my middle sibling thing and just be like, okay, but there's some truth to the fact that like when the billionaires still want to suck up to the people who have influence that aren't billionaires. Like the power is not in a straightforward place. Oh, they have the most money, they have the most power. It's not really like that. And like but that's where I get into like, it's just a weird status game. And if you're a billionaire and you're kind of obsessed with not having enough followers, you're just an idiot too. You happen to be a billionaire. So I hear it. All right,
I don't really see that. Also, the other funny thing is who controls the algorithms where posters post? It's billionaires. That's Zuck. It's Elon.
Right. Individual companies. Yeah. Look, I hear you. Like I said, I was confused, and you see so much love for it in the timeline. I'm like,
this proved to me, like, I've always been critical of the venture capitalist class. I am more. This was just like, okay, this is
zero.
I think it was a glimpse. It was a glimpse into the mindset of like what matters. And it's pretty far away from adding value to customers who pay you. It's it's a long distance between the two.
These guys are just so far up their own ass. I can't believe, like, it was just so clear to me. Like,
here's what I want to draw a line here. I know this might not all make sense for those who haven't listened to this interview. We'll link it up. But there's like a half of this that I completely disagree with, and a half of it that I think rings true. Like I was talking about, like the story and the narrative of how things happen, why people take actions and make the decisions that they do. I think that is all story based. Where he lost me was like the Twitter timeline. He said a thing where it was like, you know, all the posters are like they're defining what matters in the world. Like
they're the new priesthood.
Yeah, you know, and like that reminds me daily now. Like when I go onto Twitter, like I've become like less interested in Twitter because I'm like, there's just all this nonsense that like I might be interested, but like I know that it's a bubble and it has no relation to what my actual customers care about. Where the story really matters is like, am I speaking to real customers who have a real problem or need, and like am I delivering that, and what is their journey to connecting with me and connecting with my products and coming into my ecosystem. Like there's a real story there that happens with a real person on the other end who takes out their credit card and pays. Mm-hmm. And that's what I try to focus all my attention on, is like what's happening in that story for that person.
Yeah, that story.
Mm-hmm.
But like, and the more and more I work on builder methods, the more I realize like that story is not the story that's happening on the Twitter timeline. Those are two completely separate things.
Right. Many different stories at the same time. All right. Justin, can I ask you something?
Yes.
If you feel this way about where Fable's going and what it provides you, why do you not extend it into your own business?
Meaning
why does it not go, well, okay, I have a podcast, and so, dear Fable, set me up with hosting and make sure that it posts to all these places at the same time, and also I want video, and so do this and this and this for me.
I mean,
right? So
I think it could get there. I don't think it, but the places I see winning are on the ground level. It's just, even look what you did. You signed up for Railway, which is hosting. Hosting is like kind of it's always been like this. Hosting is kind of like the bedrock. Now we are just one abstraction away from that.
Yep.
And I still see a large number of our customers are technical, and they're still signing up for Transistor. Why? They want to use our API. Why? Because they want to be able to talk to somebody. Why? Because podcasting is actually really complex and messy. Yeah. And so there's still value there. Now, could somebody do it themselves? Sure. And especially, you can see the writing on the wall. Like, where's Claude going to go next? Hosting. Where's all of these LLMs going to go? They are going to build more hosting.
OpenAI has already launched their website hosting service. You can vibe code and host a website.
I think it is a threat. I'm not as worried about it, just because, again, maybe we'll see. Like, once I start hearing people, right now all I'm getting is signups, people saying, we heard about you on Claude, we heard about you on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
How did you find us? We looked for best podcast hosting recommendations, and you were recommended at the top of the list. And it's like, thumbs up. That's great. I am very, like Michael Buckby was saying for years, that LLMs are going to become a increasingly important referrer. And I said, we'll see. Like right now, at that moment, it was SEO for me. But as soon as it changed, I'm like, okay, well, now I've seen the actual behavior. I've actually seen the evidence that this is true. Mm-hmm. Likewise with Spots. Spots is the reason I'm interested in it is it's a hard thing. It's a double-sided marketplace. What do you need in that marketplace? You need creators, which Transistor has 30,000 of, and you need buyers, which actually Transistor probably has thousands of already. So we have a connection with both sides of the marketplace. Might not work, but this is not something you could just vibe code. It's the interstitial tissue that's actually the hard part, which is like, geez, like to launch this app, I'd need thousands of people on this side and thousands of people on this side. So it feels like things like that are going to be what's worth doing. As Jesse Hanley says, doing the hardest thing, meaning the thing that is so difficult that most people won't do it, not just because like the coding part might be easy, but every other part of it is tricky.
Yeah, I do. So like on the question of like what the future of SaaS or whatever, like my stance on it at this point is still like two things can and I think will be true, and I think are true already now. There will always be markets for products to sell, and I think both of you, Jordan and Justin, like I feel like you, knowing your products and your markets, you are two of the more safe kind of product categories that I can think of. Maybe because I'm close to it. I know you guys, but like Jordan, like you're selling to, I'm assuming like mostly non-technical small business owners,
the people least likely to build their own.
And also like Justin, like even though a lot of your customers are technical, you're in the hosting game, or at least you're one step above it, as you said. So like and there are all these like unique complications so like that's just like a level of hassle that's like I'm just not going to vibe code that.
Yes.
But at the same time, I really think that tool building as a skill is going to become less and less expensive, less and less out of reach for most high-level professional people in the world. Like it's tool building in most companies is going to become like a critical skill that companies hire for.
Yes.
Like become common to solve your problems with tools, and that will definitely eat up some share of right now. People don't have the option to build the tools, so they buy the tools and then they mold them, and there's some combination.
And it's like it's really category by category. There are plenty of categories that won't be touched by AI vibe coding anytime soon. like especially like critical infrastructure stuff. But like all the CRM tools, all the little like help me just do this task a little bit better, or my business, like every business has complex, unique, special processes. We need something that fits our weird things about our business perfectly. Let's just build that instead of try to retrofit some off-the-shelf SaaS. Like I just think that that's going to happen more and more. Yeah. And look, like one of my thesis right now in builder methods is like, because I meet these people every day, like members in Builder Methods Pro. They don't have software experience. They're not coders, but they are technical. They are systems minded. They have resources. They've built really strong businesses. They are operations people. They have really complex processes, and they have really unique needs. And they are building tools. Like they are discovering Claude Code, and they are changing the way that they build and operate their businesses with it, and they're eager to learn. So like that is a growing group of people.
I also want people to think about the adoption of Excel as a thing. So there was a time when most office workers did not know about Excel. And at some point, I lived through this, right? Excel came out in my lifetime. At some point in an office, somebody put up their hand and said, hey, I think we should be using Excel for this. Well, what's that? Oh, that's a Microsoft product. At first, I'm sure adoption was slow, right? But then people started realizing, oh, you can build stuff with Excel. We can build reports. You can basically build software with Excel. And in this co-working place I'm in, you go out into that main work area and you look in people's screens, 3 out of 10 screens might have Excel on it right now. The analyst class uses them. Tons of knowledge workers use it. When Claude starts getting used by those folks, there's going to be a similar, and I think probably even bigger change. The same way that really Excel and Microsoft Word kind of built Microsoft's business after operating systems, like that's how they made their money. This is going to infect every office, and it's not going to be like, they're not going to consider themselves to be tool builders in the same way that somebody building a really complicated automated Excel sheet where you enter things here and then it cascades down to all the things, and then everybody's got it. They're syncing it, on the LAN, and everybody's like using the same thing. Dude, they're going to be in Claude, and they're just going to be like, build me the report. It's going to build them the report. They're going to like, holy crap, this thing does charts. This thing does interactive artifacts where I can drag the slider this way and this way, and I can see different
Google
things.
Google is rolling out like their next generation search results are going to be that. Like they're not just going to give you a list of links. They're not even going to give you the answer in text. They're going to quickly code up a whole diagram or a whole interactive UI based on your query. Like that's happening. That's rolling out now. I
think it's good because I'm using it all the time now. Like I don't use Excel anymore. I download the CSV. And soon I'll just be connecting to it in Claude. I won't even need to download the CSV. I'll just be like, hey, connect to our Stripe data and pull all this for me and show us, our top plans over the last 6 months and how each one's growing and how many upgrades. It's just going to do that all for me. And there's so much work that gets done right now in offices that is going to change so dramatically once the rest of the world starts figuring out what we know. And it's going to have the same. Excel was the same way. At first, only a few people knew what a spreadsheet was.
And
then so all of a sudden, everybody knows what it is.
That gap between us and the rest of the world is so huge right now in terms of AI adoption. And you see it with Anthropic and OpenAI. Like they are, as huge as they are, they're growing by leaps and bounds. They've got all these billions of dollars. We get that. But you could see in their product moves that they are still struggling to crack the code on like, how do we get the masses, the general public, to adopt AI in their daily lives and especially in their work lives the way that the tech industry already is. Like OpenAI just launched, they completely botched this like super app situation at OpenAI, but that is their latest attempt at like, we got to do something drastic to get the world to wake up. I mean, they completely fucked it up, but they're trying, you know.
And don't count Google out. Google has lots of Google Workspace business enterprise users that use Google Sheets every day, that use Google Docs every day, that use Google Drive every day. And I mean, Gemini in Gmail I use it all the time now. It's like, who did I do that meetup with in Montreal? Like, I think it was 3-4 years ago. And it just gave me all the names of the people that were at the meetup.
Sick. Yeah,
Like,
it's already there. Microsoft well positioned for that sort of thing.
Yeah, Microsoft and
consumer stuff is coming.
Don't count Microsoft or Google out. This was the Slack's classic mistake.
They're planning on winning.
Yeah,
for sure.
The new Siri is going to drop in people's iPhones everywhere in the next couple of months, which is basically OpenAI, I think, under the. Oh no, sorry, it's Google. It's Gemini under the hood.
I just got a wave of fear when you said that. Just so you know.
Siri. Yeah. The last few days I've said, "Hey Siri, compose a note," and look, it 3 times out of 4 it tries to open up ChatGPT, where I say
right now, but next month it's gonna be. I don't know if you follow the Apple, but like it's an all new Siri that is Gemini under the hood. It's basically gonna be AI for the masses on iPhones.
I'm just hoping that Siri in general gets better. Like when I say compose a note, I want it to open up Apple Notes and compose a note.
Yeah, dude.
When
like that's the new iOS or the new Siri it's an all new. It is. They have this deal with Google that they have a special version of Gemini that will be used in all iPhones on Siri.
Oh, I can't. I hope it's actually good.
Yeah.
Like that is. It's such a. We've talked about this a lot. Like just how the interface layer is actually everything, and I mean, we shouldn't have to use this Whisper app on our Macs and our iPhones. Like, it should just be.
Yeah. I think what
Siri.
that's going to be like the new Siri is going to be the general public, like the simple. It's going to be the replacement for ChatGPT, in my opinion. Like it's going to be like, it's not going to be for the power user. It's not going to be for us to build stuff. It's just going to be like you pick up your phone and when you have a question that you would normally throw to ChatGPT or something. I think Siri, and I'm someone who has given up on Siri long ago. Like that thing sucks. But this new one is going to be basically Gemini in your pocket.
Here's a question though: does that kind of distributed UI then become the advantage? Because now what we've seen is the models actually don't matter that much. You can swap models. You can say, oh, we were using this, and then we're going to swap this. So Apple has the key piece, which is they have people, if it's good, they want to use the built-in voice AI tool. Yeah. I want to be speaking to my phone all the time and have it intelligently understand what I'm talking about. If they nail it and it's good and people just start using it all the time, Google Apple Intelligence on the back end, Grok on the back end, it could be anything.
Whoever pays more.
Yeah.
That's going to be that might be the new, and then I think we're going to see a lot more companies, like I think Apple might be like, maybe we should have built a car, because where else are people going to be using an AI interface all the time when they're in the car? What are the other like touch points where people are interacting with devices?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is like Tesla's future advantage in this gigantic network of basically hardware devices that move around.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I love following sorry, go ahead, Jordan. Yeah.
No, I saw a conversation that I thought would be interesting around Figma. I think it was a designer. I think his name was Gal. I remembered it because for obvious reasons.
Making the rounds.
Yep. And he kind of was throwing up his hands in a bit of a.
Couldn't tell if that was real.
I think it was, because the ensuing conversation assumed it was real. But it's basically a designer lamenting the end of his career,
Yeah.
and really his interest in design. He was like, I think I'm done. I think the AI is better than I am, and I've just put my entire career into this, And I don't literally I raised the white flag. That's straightforward. And then and then the founder of Figma replied and basically tried to give the other side of it. And it's interesting to see. It's kind of like it's not even like an industry. It's like a function. It's bigger than it's in design is everywhere. It's in every industry. But definitely one of these things that people assumed would take a while to replace, and that assumption just got steamrolled in like 12 months.
This is a really hard mindset that is everywhere now, especially with designers and also developers. Like we don't code anymore, so my job is being replaced.
The white flag mentality.
I have this slide that I did at Brighton Ruby, and I'm sort of repeating it in other places. It's a ladder, and the bottom of the ladder is writing code and maybe writing some tests for your code, and then as you get up in the ladder, you're going into strategic direction, vision, like architecture, design, like business direction. Like you're going up and up in like judgment and strategic decision making,
abstraction, whatever you want to call it.
And that's where we all need to be moving up in that ladder, and for two reasons. Number one, like the LLMs obviously can do those lower level jobs, the coding or just generating shapes on a page to make a nice looking logo. Of course the LLMs can do that. But the higher level stuff, even though it could do like reasoning and come up with ideas, like it can't make actual decisions that matter for your business. Those are human decisions because humans do the business, right? Like so the more that we get up into that realm, and also like part of what makes us as like the tech industry capable of like getting all this value, like why do we actually adopt all these tools at such a high level right now? It's not just because they are powerful, it's because we are able to bring our human expertise to interact with, to unlock their actual power. Like we can't get the most out of Fable, or the average person can't get much out of Fable unless they know something valuable to ask of it or to use it for. So like that's why and so especially I think design is like the perfect case for this, because like really what it means to be a great designer is like you're a problem solver. You're taking constraints and you're solving a use case. Like what it actually ends up looking like on the page, that's you're drawing a picture, but to solve a problem, like that's much bigger, you know.
To a degree. What were you going to say, Justin? I almost was taking this toward art.
I think the challenge is it's not a ladder, it's a pyramid, and there's not much room at the top. So the idea that coding, like hand coding, is bottom of the ladder. No, it's actually bottom of the pyramid. And as you go up the stack, it's like, you need more expertise, you need more product decisions, but there's only a company can't have 1,000 people up at the top of the pyramid. There's the people at the top of the pyramid are few, and they want to keep their jobs, they want to keep their position, and eventually it's the owner, the CEO, whoever, the VP, and the VP increasingly these layers are getting collapsed, and so everybody is now feeling this pressure. Like coders are like, you know what, we got to we're not coders, we're problem solvers. So they try to go up the chain to where the product managers are or whatever. And it's like, there's not that much room up there. There is going to be, we've talked about this before, there's going to be a real
that's reality
reckoning here, which is going to be the same thing that happened, but at a bigger scale. Like Canva comes out and all of a sudden it's like, well, designers that are just kind of making these kind of templated designs, like we don't need you anymore. Like we can have the people up the stack doing more of that. And
if we go a level deeper, is that good or is that bad? Or how do you think about that reality?
Yeah, I don't know. That seems to be the human question to ask. Yeah. But it also is moot at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like, is it good or is it bad matters to us. And at the same time, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen, how it happens. So yeah, what it makes me think of, Justin, is it makes me think of like my little organization. teeny tiny little organization, right? 5, 6 people. Can't eliminate the bottom. Look, wouldn't work. Can't do it. Still need all these functions. Still need all these individual parts and people in them. But the people do more. It is a confusing and shifting.
Yeah, I mean, I think
reality
the picture of the organization from years ago and maybe just a year or two ago is going to look much different than the picture of a typical organization of the same size, the same productivity in the next couple of years. Like,
right, not same size, but same like output, productivity.
Yeah, like
yeah.
And I don't believe that it's necessarily going to go down to 0 or to like 100 people down to 1 or 2. I don't really buy that vision, because I do think that you're still going to want to operate on multiple cylinders, multiple people owning different parts of the things. But I also believe that like the reality is like it's just going to be much fewer cooks in the kitchen on every single thing. But there can also be a freedom that comes with that. Like, maybe 4-day work weeks become the actual norm in the world. Maybe less than 8 hours a day becomes the norm, because we don't need it, because we can get just as much, if not more, done. Maybe
right.
more companies come out of this. That's something I sort of believe.
Yes.
Like it's gonna create way more companies. So fewer people per company, but each company is still people. Like,
yes, right. Basically, what you're describing is like the most important economic factor in modern economies is productivity. It's not the number of people; it's the productivity that gives it the leverage, and that's what really makes a difference in growth, in GDP, and so on.
Yeah,
and if productivity skyrockets, like that is, I want to say all good. Maybe there's some disruption along the way, but it's definitely good.
It's productivity per capita that's going to be the challenge, because productivity can increase, but unless it's per capita, it doesn't generally benefit everybody. I think the chef example is actually a perfect example. If the head chef can all of a sudden say, actually, I can automate everything that these lower level people are doing. So if the head chef is like, I got this idea for a dish, but yeah, I need someone to clean the dishes and I need somebody to help do the prep here. But if the head chef can just say, if the head chef had an AI and he could just say, here's my vision for this dish, you go out and make it happen. And if AI had arms and legs and et cetera and could execute on that, why would the head chef need anybody else? Like, why?
Because AI can't cook yet. Just like AI can provide an enormous amount of leverage to our support person that she can handle 2,000 customers, whereas normally it would be 4 people.
Yeah,
it doesn't replace her though.
This is a metaphor though for that. This is a metaphor for knowledge work. Like it is. It's going to.
I sort of agree with the pyramid analogy, but I also don't, because I think that there still needs to be human owners of all these domains in a business or organization, right? Like
how many owners?
Yeah, like customer support. Let's say like in a SaaS company, right? Like you have like product, you have customer support, you have marketing. Maybe some SaaS have like an infrastructure team, like maybe like a finance, HR team, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So like you're not gonna have like one person own all those functions, even though like Fable or whatever model can do a lot of the production work or the grunt work in most of that stuff. Each area still needs higher level on the ladder, like the higher level decision maker, the director, the prompter, if you will, so like there's still going to be some form of an org chart,
Absolutely.
Maybe.
If you look at some of the most successful AI companies, I think I saw something today that Harvey, the extremely successful legal AI company, is hiring 300 positions, all over $230,000 a year. Like, an enormous investment in people. Because they got to get the product out there. They got to get the deals closed. They got to get things signed. They got to get things implemented.
In some ways, that's a good example, though. If you're hiring 300 at that salary level, really what that means is 5 years ago, they would have hired 3 times that. So it's moved up. There's less people on the bottom rung. It's moved up a notch, and I'm conflicted about it. I think in some ways, I think I could see companies hiring more in a few places. I could see but it does feel like, it does feel like there's this challenge. And I know, for example, people in the agency world are already feeling this because why do you hire anything? Why do you hire a service or a product? You are in motion and you hit a roadblock and you're like, this is so painful. I need to keep moving. I will pay whatever it takes. And in the old days, it's like, we need to build a new website. And then you start going, and it's like, fuck, we can't do this. How much does it cost? 30 grand. Okay, we'll pay the 30 grand because we got to get this thing going, right?
Yeah.
But now, a lot of that work that agencies were doing, people are like, I did that in a day with Claude Design. Like, I'm done. So that's $30,000 of value that would have employed 5, 10, 20 people.
Yeah.
Gone.
But it shifts. I don't know if it's gone.
Where's it shifting though? This is the thing. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
if we're going to say shifting, we have to have an example of where
New York City needs to redesign their subway map, their subway system. They're not going to just rely on Claude Fable for that. They're going to hire a design, like an architect, like a city planning design firm for that.
Yeah, I mean,
like
at the
there are
top
design
levels, I
projects
can see.
everywhere. Like there are design projects everywhere in the world. Like, the smaller, like, build a website. Yeah, that stuff is in trouble.
I mean, my guess is that people that do city design is like in the hundreds worldwide or something, maybe the thousands.
What I'm saying is, like, that's one of thousands of examples where designers are still needed in the world.
What you guys have not answered yet is I'm saying there's a bulk of people. If there are millions of people who are web designers right now, where are they going to go?
If you are a web designer, like I was, I still make websites, but I started my career making a living as a web designer. You adapt because you have technical and design skills. You're tapped in. You shift with the times. Like,
Yep.
In all of
that's
those-
just not how.
There's disruption,
That's not
but, like,
how modern markets work. I mean, capitalism's the greatest thing ever because it acknowledges everyone acts according to their self-interest. And all those web designers are going to act according to their self-interest and will move around and find the opportunities and the gaps and the skill sets that they're missing. And that
frankly,
invisible hand thing is real.
And
it will find the right price for those people's skills on its own. We don't really have to worry about it. And it's not a callous thing to not worry about it. It's just not our problem because we have our own problems. And the best thing that we can do is act according to our own self-interest.
Yeah, and web design specifically was disrupted way before AI came along by the square spaces and the web flows and all that.
Yeah, and yeah. I think the one trend we should be looking at is when did per capita productivity peak? That's one. And when did real wages peak? That's two. Capitalism was great when every generation made more money than their parents. That is not the case anymore. There is something we are on the precipice of a new stage in capitalism that we've never seen. Since its advent, every generation made more money than their previous generation, basically. And the fact that per capita productivity is down, the fact that real wages are down, I think is a major red flag. It's like, it means for the first time, there wasn't somewhere else productive for people to move to. So the invisible hand, the self-interest isn't working anymore. There's nowhere else for people
Nonsense.
to go. Show me the proof, Jordan. Show me the
Where I
proof.
agree with you, Justin.
We see it all around. It's
Show me the
working
proof.
Exactly.
How do you back that up?
Back what up?
You say nonsense. How do you back it up?
What, that like capitalism's falling apart because technology and productivity is
I didn't say that. I said that the masses now, the idea, like you said, that people have this self-interest and that it always helps them to find a way. I'm saying that's falling apart now because productivity per capita is down for the first time ever. and that real wages per capita is down for the first time ever. So that self-interest, the idea that you could uptrain, you could go to university, you could learn a new skill, and then you could still make progress, isn't happening anymore.
I don't want to dismiss that there's a lot of difficulty and a lot of people have a lot of difficulty. You know, that can't be dismissed.
Yeah. But
it's not this straightforward answer that like the system isn't working. What we know for sure, is that this is still the best system.
I agree.
That doesn't mean it can't be improved, but trying to control and manipulate the market and the economy and people's outcomes according to what we want it to be does not work. The thing that works is incentivizing.
Yeah.
And pointing in a particular direction and helping people achieve things, not through prescription, not through, well, we're gonna, set aside this much more money for AI training. That shit never works. What works is putting policies in place that allow people to flourish and incentivize themselves toward being productive and making more money and keeping more of their own money and getting out of their way and making it easier to start businesses and making it easier to get licenses for things that they want to do in the economy and making it easier to open a restaurant and easier to build a new building so that there's more housing supply. That works.
Yeah.
Every single time. The opposite doesn't, but there's this empathetic response from people, especially people like us who are very far off of the bottom. We want people to do better. It is not a bad instinct to have.
Yeah.
It's just that we have to acknowledge that there's a history and a pattern to policies, and when you try to mix the exact ingredients the way you want to have the right outcome that you want, it never works.
I want to play the middle sibling here now. Now my turn to play that role. And I really do agree with both of you on two different levels. Like Jordan, I kind of philosophically, see the world the same way you do on what you were just describing. The one caveat to that for me is always just like the basic needs, like healthcare and like education. I wish got out of the way of the commerce side. Like that's why I support more of like the like a Canadian style system for like healthcare, so that there can be more entrepreneurship. I think that's a big drag down on capitalism, in my opinion. But that put aside, I think the fear and the risk that Justin is speaking to is very real in this transition phase, and we're definitely seeing it. Like the productivity per capita issue, which is a very real issue and problem, I would say, and it's going to be growing and more painful in the next couple of months and years. I think it's an open question on like how painful does it get, and can we make it through that period of pain? If we can, then I do believe that there is a better future or whatever, blah blah blah. Like I think that's like that's where the world is. It's a moot. Like we can't control it. Technology is going to take us to that future whether we like it or not. We might go kicking and screaming, but that is definitely already underway. The idea of like pausing, or the idea of artificially keeping jobs around when they're not needed, like that just doesn't make sense to me. But the pain and the slowness to adopt is the real bottleneck here. Like the models are capable now. Fables, Opus, GPT 5.6, like the technical capability is now possible. The big holdback is mostly larger organizations and universities and how kids are being educated and brought up and brought into the workforce. That is so far behind where the technology now is, and that's the source of all the pain. Like organizations have not adopted AI yet, or they're starting to in some areas, So and there is not a workforce ready to step into this new model of working.
I don't think the jobs are there, though. I think that's the difference, is that in the old days, it was like, hey, software.
But I mean, like in the future, what I was saying was like there are just going to be more companies or more individuals being able to start companies.
Yeah, maybe that slowness
but like
might be kind of healthy. It's kind of like a more natural progression and evolution into it.
I hope it's true. As someone who spent a lot of my life trying to teach people to be entrepreneurs, my worry is that there's just what I've learned is that if you have 200 people in a class, the people that can actually do it, because it's actually very difficult, all sorts of things have to happen for a business to work, even to make it so that you're making a living. It's like top 2, 3, 4, 5% of any, and these are people who have expressed interest. And I tried really hard to teach people how to be entrepreneurs, how to start their own businesses. And my experience is it just feels like it's not something that most people can do. That the people that can do it and be successful at it it's a small percentage. And so I hope that that's true, because if the only thing left to do is to become a solopreneur.
No, I don't know that it's that extreme, but I do think that entrepreneurship is going to grow. Because it is a more viable option for more people as the technology makes it available, and hopefully as society makes it easier to go that route. But I also think that there's just going to be a lot more smaller companies. I feel like, I don't know if there's data on this, but there's got to be already trends that like more and more people are joining smaller businesses than like the big behemoths, and you stay there for 30 years. Like that model is going away. Like,
I mean, that's actually at least partly true. The overwhelming majority of Americans are employed by small businesses.
Yeah. I can tell you, again, just in this little bubble I'm in this co-working place, and we've got maybe 20, 30 members. The amount of career disruption I've seen, the amount of people that have been fired and have had to find something else, and it took them a lot longer to get hired back again. The number of people who had normal jobs, just like I'm an analyst and I'm a whatever. It's like I'm seeing the disruption happen in my little pocket, which has typically been a pretty good knowledge work category. And so when I see real stuff happening on the ground, I go, The other thing I'm seeing, because I've got college-age kids and I'm friends with people with college-age kids, and I'm talking to universities. Universities don't know what to train people for, not because they don't. There's not things to teach people, but in terms of careers waiting for people, their work placement programs are having a huge challenge filling roles. Co-op programs, huge roles. Internships, huge problems filling those roles. Most people who are graduating with a degree right now are saying they're having a hard time finding a job. And so even if universities could catch up, there's no slots waiting for people right now. And so we are in this challenging in between that I think.
I mean, we are in it. Like, welcome to the hard part. Like we are now in the beginning, I think, of the hard period of transition, which who knows how long it's going to take, who knows how deep it's going to go. Yeah. We are in it for sure. We're going to see it everywhere. We don't see it in like my brother is a farmer. Like he runs a dairy farm, and he's actually killing it with some new yogurt products he's doing.
Awesome.
So it's like that's real human to human. No, like he won't touch AI. Like, but like, so like it's just going to take a long time to sweep through. And I think I do think it's an open question of like, I don't know what the downside actually looks like, but like, will we, like, how painful is this going to get? Because it could get too painful where it's like we don't make it through. Like that's where you get into some dark thinking.
Yeah.
But like
I think the speed will help us. The fact that it's relatively slow. Same here, Brian. In the suburbs of Chicago, where everyone is a lawyer and a doctor and works at a healthcare company and a pharmaceutical company and a homemaker, it's slow adoption. Yeah. It's cool. It's part of the conversation. Oh, we're doing this thing at work, but it is not disruptive yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
we're playing out all the way at the top. We're playing at the edge.
We are at the
where disruption, huge advantages, disadvantages, wiping companies out, blowing companies up,
Yeah.
Like that's where we live. So
yeah, like we're in this little microcosm of like, yeah, like people are getting disrupted, like software coding developers, but also our industry is like very quickly adopting. I mean, companies use Claude Code for everything now in our little world here. So it's like it's a little microcosm, I think, theoretically, of what's going to happen to the rest of the world. The question is like how long is it going to take for that to, and what kind of use cases, what patterns, you know.
The opportunities that I love is in that gap between where we are and where the rest of the economy is. And I don't know if it was YC or A16Z or one of those that put out a post that said something like, we don't want AI software for law firms. We want an AI law firm. Mm-hmm. Like, you see the difference there? Like, take an existing organization of 40 lawyers with partners and, you know, and inject AI into that is very different from, well, how would you build a law firm if from the start you use these tools baked in? And I think that same concept goes for a lot of other companies, and there is a massive amount of opportunity to disrupt and do business a different way and be much more efficient and be much cheaper and be much faster, whatever that combination of things is. In many ways, that creative destruction, I'm just going to fucking stuff the capitalism into this podcast over and over again, that destructive creativity is going to cause job loss and is still better for everybody. It's still better. It's going to disrupt and crush things and eliminate companies and industries, and it will still be better off.
I mean, really, that's why I choose to be doing builder methods, you know, in these years for me personally. Like I see it more as like on the individual level, the individual professional person, whether they're a business owner or an operator in a business, like we as like professionals in all different industries need to start to be like, I have a course coming up on like becoming AI native. Like we need to start to get comfortable like thinking and working and creating with these tools, whether it's building tools or just using agent skills and things like that. Like these need to start to become common needs. And like I mean, I have like people from well-known universities coming into Builder Methods Pro. Like the universities are so far behind, and these like large companies like are so far behind on like the adoption, and they don't even have like guides or playbooks on like how do we go from we're in like we're bought in, like we need to go from A to B, but how do we get from A to B?
In the example that Jordan gave, though, why would you? Because if A16 is saying in the future there won't be law firms, there will just be AI law firms, that means you're not going to need all the partners. You're not going to need it. So if I was a lawyer right now and it's like, oh, what I really got to do is learn some skills, some AI skills, it will benefit the 5% that can start their own one-person law firm. The 95% of lawyers, it's not going to benefit them because most lawyers work for a big firm. And A16 is basically saying the very problem, which is that in the future, there will be no law firms with a bunch of partners and expense and everything. There will be AIs that do law. And so where do those people go? 200 years ago, 98% of North America or something was farmers. And the reason that changed is because there was factories that opened up and they needed massive amounts of people. The difference in this economic change is now it seems like there's nowhere for the masses to go. And that's the concern.
No. How do you get there? You just named like several examples.
Yeah.
Going from one stage to the next. Going from almost everyone's a farmer to almost everyone's in a factory. Like that disruption did two things. One, it destroyed a lot of farming jobs. And two, it was still better off. Then everyone went into the factories. And then when automation came in, all those people lost their factory jobs and moved to something else toward the service economy. And two things happened. It was terrible for factory workers. They lost their jobs, and it was still better off. So why would this be any different?
That's what a lot of smart people are debating is
focusing on the loss of the 95% of lawyers is ignoring what comes next. it's almost like it's like a pessimistic view of human nature.
Yeah.
It assumes that these are victims. Oh, they lost their jobs, as opposed to, well, now they're free to move into a different place.
Yeah, it's just, it assumes that because we've never been at this stage of capitalism before, it assumes that there's always going to be somewhere else for people to go.
But I believe that there is. Like
There never hasn't
there's
been.
always going to be value for humans to find the thing that only humans can do, whether it's human to human, sales, community, like education, whatever. Like there's
yes, this is like the Maslow hierarchy of
medicine,
needs being propelled by innovation and technology, right? This is, Elon is kooky, we know, but a lot of the stuff he says ends up feeling a lot more true and less kooky a few years later. And right now, Elon's mindset on this is, we won't need to do this. There will be so much abundance. People will be able to live different lives. It is not a bad thing. Like that's where this is heading. And that's an ideal version of far off into the future. But in this transition period, I just don't know why it would be any different than any other time in human history where people went from like hunting and gathering to cities to farming to more advanced agriculture.
I think the one thing that does scare me about this time compared to all the others is the speed and the scale of it is a unprecedented. Like how painful, how fast is it going to happen? Whereas like the transition from farm to factory or factory to automation, like it was painful, but that played out over decades.
Yeah,
this is
like
going to play out
human
over
speed. It was like a lifetime.
Yeah,
goes through in a generation, and people get brought up in a different world. They get educated a different way. I hear you on that.
I think that there could be what I get scared about with this transition, which I think is inevitable. It's going to happen. The second, third order effects, like whatever, like strife, conflict, like when it's happening so fast, that's when things get scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think part of me is because I think Canada is actually a canary in the coal mine, because we are, when you look at our GDP figures, we don't have very many billionaires or trillionaires. And so our GDP per capita, we're a first world country, G7, like we have lots of highest university educated population, our GDP per capita figures are concerning precisely because we don't have billionaires. So it's an accurate representation of how is the real economy affecting real people. And I'm just seeing like...
But do you like intentionally not have billionaires, or it just the reality of your economy hasn't produced billionaires?
No, that part is irrelevant. That's just a demographics issue. What I'm saying is that...
Not sure if that's irrelevant.
Well, it is relevant because if you look at the GDP per capita in the States is going up. Why?
Oof. That graph is brutal, my friend. That
yeah,
GDP
but why?
Graph.
Why? Why is the GDP in the U.S. so much higher than Canada?
What happened right around that line? Which government went out? Which government came in?
No.
Did Stephen Harper leave the scene?
And
Trudeau enter?
You're missing the point. You're missing the point about basic mathematics. It's if you have billionaires and trillionaires in your economy, GDP per capita goes up, but it only benefits 5, 10, 100 people. That's the difference.
Do not accept this obsession with the top.
It doesn't.
It doesn't hurt anyone. If people are successful and wealthy, it doesn't hurt anyone. This always ends up in the same place. You have two options to make things more equal. You have two options. You can raise the bottom up, or you can bring the top down.
No. I'm not saying any of that. I'm talking about math, Jordan. I'm just talking about if you have a few people in any economy that make not just 1,000 times more than the regular person, but 100,000 times more. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that's why our GDP numbers are different.
My friend, our GDP numbers are different because you guys in Canada are super into putting yourselves in handcuffs and then shooting both of your feet and then shooting your other foot, and then once you recover, shooting your foot again. You guys are like the most resource-rich nation
Jordan,
in the world, and you refuse to take advantage of it.
This is hyperbole versus math, brother. It's just math. All I'm talking about is averages. That's all I'm talking about. It's just math. So, yes, And if I calculated the United States, if I remove billionaires from the per capita, there's other ways economists track this. They say, okay, well, we got to take the outliers out so to get a more accurate picture of real productivity and real GDP per capita. They will remove the billionaires out, not because of any other reason. Then we just need to see how the average person is doing. The U.S.'s numbers look the same, regardless of president, regardless of party in power. This is just an overall trend. This is just math.
Well, if AI produces more of these Seinfeld memes that are like AI generated for 2026, I'm all in, because I'm just eating these things up. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Have you seen those? Like they're making like a modern day like George and Jerry and Elaine. And
oh yeah, I have seen those videos. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thought I'd break up the conversation.
Yeah, bring up the World Cup. Erling Haaland or something. Yeah. Can you believe Messi?
I mean, yeah, that's probably a good place to wrap. I think we got into it. I'm glad we're talking about the hard stuff here.
I like this episode.
Come on!
I'm gonna enjoy. I think our audience will enjoy listening to it.
And folks, if you have something to say, go to our YouTube channel, Panel Podcast. Leave a comment. You can also comment on Blue Sky. It'll actually show up on the episode show notes. You can write us an email. That's in the show notes. You can even send us an audio or video message, because I know there's going to be people that were yelling at their radios. Just turn that yelling into an audio video message, and we'll talk about it next time.
All right. See ya. Yep. Later.
See ya, guys.